on your screen. Now, obviously, we got to sit up, where our Raeann and do some degree of a PowerPoint presentation. You don't necessarily have to do that at all. It's entirely up to you. Whatever you want to say about what you do, who you are, background information. In 10 minutes, it's entirely yours to do whatever. Take it away. Raeann, the floor is yours.
And I'll leave you 2 minutes for 8 minutes, okay?
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Raeann, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about my journey because it began with pain. So some 20 years ago, I had a spinal injury. I did all the drugs and the facet injections and all that, and finally led me to a neurosurgeon. And he was the one that said, you know what? I think you're too young for a spinal fusion, so let's try massage therapy. And that was when I really found some positive changes. However, it was still a really long recovery because I did not understand the biopsychosocial experience of pain. And I'll explain a little bit about that later. This is my 19th year as a therapist. And about 5-6 years ago, I was introduced to the very complex pain concept. It's about danger and safety in the brain. And the neuroscience researcher made a video a couple years ago, and it's just a short video. I want to play that for you. Let's see if this is going to work. Stop that one.
Aj Singh Brahma asks a fundamental question: what is pain? Instead of going through all these definitions that are being put out there, why not try something which is really simple and clinical? We will have pain when our brains weigh the world, everything going on outside and inside, and makes a credible judgment that there's more danger than safety. Equally, we will not have pain when our brains weigh the world and judge that there's more safety happening in there than danger. Great question, but the key thing is danger and safety hides in hard to find places. And when you can grasp how important context is and how important distributed processing is, you'll realise that many things out there can have an influence on pain, both set it up and down. What do you say?
Okay. So that really started my journey of training. My first instructor was Walt Fritz, and he was a physical therapist from New York and taught myofascial release from a scientific background, and that's when I was really introduced to the biopsychosocial model. He also taught me about research and how we all have biases, because that's just the way we are. It takes all of our experience from when we were born, what our parents taught us up until today. Also learned about the operator versus the interactor model as far as the clinician, practitioner. Diane Jacobs is also a physical therapist. She's from Canada. She actually began her career in this 1971. What she realized after she was introduced to David Butler, she was treating peripheral nerves, all the nerves below the head, right? Big nerve, brain, and everything else is peripheral. What she realized is she was really treating those, but she wanted to understand there wasn't enough research out there about all the nerves that come out all the way to the skin. They're called cutaneous nerves. She was granted access to an anatomy lab and learned the role of our skin organ, our integumentary system. Our skin is the largest organ of our body. She also learned how, when a therapist touches a patient, she learned and documented that interaction and how important it was. So she went and created a treatment manual and began teaching around the world, and she still teaches around the world. This is her 49th year as an instructor. Another instructor is Dr. Kerry D'Ambrosio. He also began his career as a physical therapist. And I studied total body balancing, lymphatic balancing, and positional release therapy. If you want to know more about that, just talk to me, I can explain more. And then last year, I trained again with Diane Jacobs and also Dr. Jeff Rockwell, who actually was in Plano at one point, and Julie Porter, and I trained on cranial nerves. So we have 12 cranial nerves, and again, I will talk to you more about that, but they're extremely important and very effective, even if that is all that you work on. So what I've done is I basically combined all of those trainings, and that is so my focus with clients is, first, you do not do any harm, you have to be kind. I know you have heard that, oh, you know, if it's not painful, it's not effective. No, that's not, we have 3 cells, so this is the biopsychosocial. We have a biological self, we have a psychological self, and we have a social self. And we cannot separate those. They're all intertwined. That's what makes us us. So you have to look at the whole person when they're experiencing pain. And motivational interview is really listening to the client's story, their history of pain, the history of them, period. Helping them understand that this is a very safe place to share whatever they feel comfortable with. And the nervous system is what I've learned. So I'm going to show you, this is what I show. Can you see that? Okay, how's that?
You can see
Is
it.
this,
You can see it.
Yeah, that's better.
that, a little bit better. So this is what I show them. You know, look, there's no muscles, there's no joints, there's no bones in there. This is the only part of the body that can actually produce pain for someone. Even though it starts with the very inside of you, you know, spinal cord, it comes out all the way to the skin, which makes it really easy to work on. We have 46 miles of nerves in our body. We have a brain that's 5 times larger than it really needs to be in order to run our body. But even with all the length, and even with that huge brain, it only takes up 2% of our body. But it requires 20% oxygen and glucose to run us. So it's a huge energy suck is what it is. And I remind people that you are a part of it. It's not part of you like we think of other body parts. We are the human bit in there. It runs us, it's 24/7, it never shuts off, you know, puts you to sleep, wakes you up. That's the nervous system. Everything is all hooked together, and sometimes it can get itself into a glitch. I help people understand that it is us against the nervous system. It is a team effort. They will be doing work. I am just here to interact. I may help facilitate movement, but I am still interacting. I'm interacting through the skin with their nervous system. I can't take their skin off to work on a muscle or a joint. So the hope is they start to understand that they are actually in charge. But what happens is, even though the person may not really physically understand it, their brain has it, and so it's going to start to go on that information that we talked about. So that's really my focus is skin. So these are all cutaneous nerves, and skin to help free up range of motion. I help them understand more about pain and their own body and movement, and that everybody has a body, everybody needs to go use it because that's what the brain needs. I created videos from movements that I used to send my clients. So I send them so they can help maintain range of motion that they gain during a session. So with that, my goal is to give things that you can do on your own first. So I created a free download for people so they can start their own journey of healing on their own before even coming to see me. And I took the pain science, neuroscience information and created an online course, membership type site. So here's a couple slides just from that course. The first thing I share with people is, you know, pain is an alarm because it's the brain's opinion that the body is under threat. And that may or may not be true. You may be someone who's dealing with persistent pain, but pain is meant for you to do something with your body. It's meant to motivate action. You know, when we have trauma, pain is pretty good at telling us there's a problem, right? But pain is very poor at telling us how bad or severe the problem is. Because when pain persists, that link I talked about between damage and pain becomes very weak, and it ends up being more about sensitivity. So as you can see, think about this, you know, when we have a heart attack, sometimes, you know, part of the heart could be dying, but where do we feel a lot of the pain? A lot of times they feel it in the arm, in the jaw, or even in the back. So this is what therapy looks like. You basically wear shorts and a t-shirt. I need to get some newer pictures. Anybody, if really wants to be a video or a photo demo, I would be happy to take some. I always forget that I still offer corporate chair massage, and I forget to tell people about that. But I have 2 locations. I have a private home office in Murphy, and I have a Dallas office. I'm actually working out of a temporary because my Dallas office got hit by the tornado. So that's the information for you on your table. Thank you to Linda Yo, Persona Marketing, for providing the cups for me. And there's a packet of hot chocolate to keep you warm. And thank you all for your time.
I just wanted to tell everybody that Raeann is not a massage therapist. She deals with the pain that you have in your body. If you take a minute and either read the cup or go read the left-hand thing on the table here, the different things that she can help. Both my husband and I have been to her, and it's really a neat treatment. She works with the nerves to help eliminate that pain that you have from wherever. Things that you wouldn't even think of if you read the list of things that she can treat.
Thank you. And I also forgot to tell you, even if you don't have pain, because I've trained with Dr. Carey, who is an osteopath, it's a blend of classical osteopathy, which is basically movement designed to calm the whole body. So you can get a session and it affects the whole body. And the cool thing about the nervous system is it takes 72 hours to remap. So your brain, that's how long it takes for it to figure out, okay, what's going on here? So I always tell people, it's your 4th day is your next level from wherever you started.
Very good. If I have any more questions or comments at all, you can see Raeann acting the meeting very, very well. Awesome. Okay, moving on. So we have somebody scheduled for next week.